What is your circle of influence? If you have to go to the shop to get milk and it's raining, don't worry about the rain. Just take an umbrella or go later. You can control your actions picking up an umbrella or doing it later, but you can't control the rain. Same if you have a test tomorrow. Instead of worrying what questions will be asked, just repeat the section you were studying. Most of the things in our lives will fall in one of the following circles: circle of concern or circle of influence. One of the big things that people try to control are other people. I think that is one of the most popular and at the same time most terrible things to do. Why? Because people don't like and don't want to be controlled. I have seen it at work and personal life over and over again. Things happening in your circle of concern are not getting you anywhere. Things like worrying about weather, discussing how bad traffic was this morning, worrying about how long it takes to upload this one file, worrying why someone does something in different ways than you would do. And no, they don't get you anywhere. These things actually harm you in many ways. Considering these things or thinking about them will make you feel frustrated, angry, and helpless. And you are helpless because you'll never be able to directly influence them. You just don't have control of them. Let's look at another example. You have to do your Saturday shopping to buy products for next week. So you go to the store, do the shopping. Then you go to the cash register and you end up in a long queue. And here it starts. Oh my God, this will take ages to get through. At least 20 minutes of my time wasted. Why don't they have more tills in this shop? Why don't they have self-checkout machines? And moaning goes on in the shop, and by the end of the day, everyone who met this person will know his or her bad shopping experience. As we can see in this example, why there is no more tills or self-checkout machines illustrates a person thinking outside their circle of influence, and all it does in life is just beat the person up with no reason. Let's look at this situation from a bigger picture and analyze this situation deeper to see if there was anything this particular person could do within his or her circle of influence to avoid or differently approach this situation without complaining and upsetting themselves. A. Timing. If you went down to the shop on Saturday afternoon, then that is not a surprise that the shop was crowded because it is rush hour, and everyone does shopping during this part of the day. In this case, the solution would be to pick a different time to go shopping. Either go in the morning or at the end of the day when there's less people shopping. B. Other shopping center. Because you went to the central shopping center, you run into the crowded place. The solution would be to go to another shopping center, to the one which is a little bit further away. I know what you'll say on this one. Because I know from my own experience, when I get used to the one store, it is not easy to break that habit when you know where each product is located, what you buy each week, or the store sells your favorite product, and so on. But nonetheless, of all of these excuses, the choice was there. C. Utilize that time. Do something useful during the time you have to wait in the queue. We live in an age of technology with smartphones in our pockets. Check out your mailbox while waiting to pay the bills, but don't moan all the time. For example, I always have some audiobook with me on my phone. So if the situation comes where I feel I can't do anything else useful, I can always listen to my audiobook and think in this case it is an ideal fit. If you have to wait in queue 20 minutes, then you might as well listen to an audiobook during that time, and that is going to be a well-spent 20 minutes. So here, we concluded 3 things or actions within every person's circle of influence. One additional thing I want to point out here is that planning in advance and thinking things through before doing them are playing an important role. Planning can help you to stay more in your circle of influence. Even if we look back to our sample, the first 2 things had to be approached in advance, and that can be done only if you plan and organize things. To be honest, if we look around, we will quickly realize that there are more things that can't be controlled and influenced than the things we can. And this is true. It might sound unfair, but that's just the way it is. There is one thing you have 100% control and influence of, and nobody else has it. And it is you, your body, thoughts, and your actions can only be controlled by yourself. So in my opinion, this is the best place to start from as we talk about circle of influence. We have to start within ourselves. Being in your circle of influence means doing things you can do and not complaining or worrying about things you can't influence. Understanding this baseline concept is fundamentally important. I will try to give you some tips that has helped me along the way to stay focused on myself and that eventually helped me to stay in my circle of influence. Number 1, stop worrying about other people. I know I mentioned this in my video earlier, but this is the most important thing that has helped me to stay in my circle of influence. I just accept other people and their actions as they are. Same as you have your circle of influence, other people have their own. And that's the reason why they did something, didn't do something, or said something. Number 2, stop worrying about something that has happened or will happen and can't be changed. For example, you're responsible about product sales in Europe's market, and in the first month of product launch, you had to sell 100,000 units, but you didn't achieve the planned product sales performance, and you only sold 40,000 units, which is 40% of the planned performance. You know the actual figures, and others might have a rough idea about your performance, and you have to participate in a monthly meeting at 2 o'clock to report the data. The fact is that your performance is very poor, and you know it isn't going to go smoothly, and there's not much you can do about it during the day you will report the data from last month. It is correct to expect that in the meeting you will be asked why it happened, and probably you will be told off as well if you don't know why. But worrying about it doesn't help you at all. Most of the people get paralyzed and probably would spend this particular day in their circle of concern. You have to take it in, accept it as fact, and concentrate on doing other things, like analyzing data to understand what went wrong in Europe's market. It is not easy because you know what will be happening or what happened last month during a similar situation. But more you practice it, the better you will get at absorbing these feelings and staying focused on some productive stuff within your circle of influence. Number 3, plan your things. As we discussed in an earlier video, it is important to be organized and do a bit of the planning. This will help you to avoid situations where you could end up in a circle of concern. The real power of circle of influence is when you decide to act in your circle of influence and things work out for you. And I have to say, in most of the cases, it will work out because you're working in your circle of influence. You will also slowly realize that the more you rely on yourself, the more you will get done. You'll change from the person who used to say, "I didn't prepare my report because Bob didn't send me the data," to the person who encourages everyone to get things done, and this will create momentum, the feeling of inner power and sense of progression. Once we have discussed the ways of how to stay in circle of influence, we have to practice it. As all other skills that we have, like a piano player has to practice a lot to become good at piano, you have to practice staying in your circle of influence. Be conscious about it, and during your daily activities, ask yourself the simple question, am I in my circle of influence? And if the answer is no, then stop what you're doing and start doing things within your circle of influence. After you practice it for some time, one magical thing will be happening. Your circle of influence will start to grow. That's right, your circle of influence will grow bigger. And as it is growing, your circle of concern will shrink. And then you will start to see more opportunities in your life, and eventually, A, you will feel more in control of your life. B, with less worrying, your actions will leave bigger impact on what you do. C, you will be happier every day. So that was your circle of influence. Make sure you spend as much time as possible in it. If you have any questions about areas of life where you're struggling or want to make improvements, please tell me in the comments below or write to me at Facebook or Twitter, and I'll make a video about how best to approach it.